I do believe they're bringing Palpatine back. I think that's what's... Because they want to tie in all the trilogies, and that's going to be the best way. It also, I think, is the best scenario to make the first 2 movies of the sequel trilogy actually make some sense. Just my 2 cents. In the top left, as the Red Terror, and it is Psystorm's Epic. In the bottom right is the blue Zerg. It is JonSnow. Going for a pool first. They don't meow at other cats or animals. Yeah. Well, they have some way to respond to us. So pool first, gonna make some lings. We're gonna see 2, 4, 6. What's the number here? 6 it is. You'd save up 3 larvas. That makes sense. So 6 lings. That is a serious threat if taken too lightly to the command center. And it almost guarantees a delay in the command center unless the Reaper is just staying put. So we'll see what Epic reads into this, if he thinks JonSnow is capable or likely to do this, or if he doesn't care. He is going to go for a Marine follow-up, but that's where 6 lings are still deadly to the SCV. 2 lings, a Marine covers it. 4 lings, a Marine can buy time and maybe some Ghosty Micro, I suppose. But 6 lings, if they don't get stopped by the Reaper, are going to kill the Marine and the SCV and deal a hefty chunk of damage to the command center. But it's only the worst possible universe that you, like, lose your command center off 6 lings. That'd be your fault. So the Reaper is going to dive in, see the hatcheries late, and you should just dive back, but actually tries to go for a drone kill instead, perhaps hoping it was only 2 lings, hoping the Marine would take care of it. It absolutely won't. And this is where the command center actually is in severe danger. So it looks like he was going to get a second Marine. That's probably why he felt more confident. Pulls the SCVs down as well to cover the Marines, and he will hold on here, but the Reaper would have obviously made this a lot easier. SCV is targeted down. Marine is targeted down. This one also about to die. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. 2 SCVs, 2 Marines for 6 lings, and a drone. So they come out equal on the resources lost. I guess it's just more of a question of who continued their build order faster, better. Couldn't really tell you. They both probably were a little delayed. Speed is on the way for JonSnow. It takes his 3rd base. Certainly one thing that lings do is get that off your back. And it's going to be Hellions into maybe swapping that tech lab off. Reaper wants to get a confirmation. The nasty thing that could possibly happen is like roaches are also on the way and you get the very, very last second scout, but didn't expect that from JonSnow. Another Epic, he'll be fine. Just a Liberator from that starport and perhaps starting up Stim as soon as he has 100 gas. He has no tail. It's his breed. He actually does have a very small tail. He's a Japanese bobtail. Thank you. Where's the Aniki? The 200 bits. These Hellions are bold, as there are only 2 of them. The links around could be very deadly. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. They could maybe try and dive in and get some damage on the drone line, but they do not one-shot drones, so if the drones are lined up perfectly, it wouldn't really matter. And lings are out here to kind of force them away. Hey! Ho! Hey, Ratty! Thanks for the big host. Thank you very much. We're on the tail end of the WCS qualifiers right now, but this is a fresh best of 3, and this is one of the qualifying matches, so whoever wins this advances on to Challenger through the upper bracket. Just to give you guys a general overview of where we're at. We're also discussing books, Star Wars, and cats in chat. Thank you very much. Those are the acceptable topics. Hellions do get some damage on the drone line, and are going to take out most, if not all, of the Lings here, with still 4 of them left alive, which is still quite a good number to go ahead and protect your third base from, well, being attacked, I guess, first of all, sure, but actually from being put down on location. You don't have the Hellions, and he's actually going to go ahead and suicide him here, then you're going to be waiting a little while for your Marine count to be confident not to take it. So the Hellions going back in for the suicide is a little questionable. In total, he gets 7 SCV kills, or sorry, drone kills, which isn't terrible, I suppose, overall, but that was at the loss of every single offensive unit, as well as the loss of every single defensive unit as of right now. That will quickly change. The barracks are done. 2 of them have reactors, and it was a swap over to a tech lab for that factory, so a very, very safe tank is out here as well. So we'll see if Epic is going to be allowed to get that third on location. I think so. JonSnow would have to make like double the amount of Lings he currently has to actually threaten it, as Epic is, again, churning out those Marines at a decent rate at this point. So he should be able to get that pretty fast. JonSnow severely, heavily delayed that lair. You know, I talked about it in his last TVZ series. He delayed it till 5 minutes because he saw no need for an overseer, and he was right. This one was delayed until 6 minutes, and it actually kind of feels a little bit like a mistake, like a little too far forward there. That's a long time to wait. Now, we're not talking about overseers because we don't need them, but we're talking about the centrifugal hooks primarily. That's going to be heavily delayed. And Epic, you know, if he goes for a 2-tank push, might actually have some room to actually do some damage on this base, especially as the creep tumors, only 2 of them sniped, and suddenly you're out of creep spread. But we'll see. So Centrifugal Hooks is started as soon as possible, as soon as that layer is done. And it's not like the longest upgrade. And you can certainly buy some time. Just the creep removal alone takes a little while. But Epic's also not doing any sort of really fast tank push. Axe is going for the 2 drops. And that is a pretty safe way to do things. He could go ahead and try and snipe these slow banelings. If the Lings weren't already on top of him, it wasn't so close to the Queens. It's not really going to work out. JonSnow is going to get away with that slow of a lair. That slow of Centrifugal Hooks. His 2-2 is still well timed, and he's already on his way to an infestation pit with the Hydra upgrades on the way. Both of them pretty well saturated at this point too, so not much more economy to be pumped out. Actually, JonSnow going for 9 more drones, so excuse me, going up to the 80s, but I was thinking more like this is a comfortable amount for both of them. 2-2 is also going to be on par with each other, and I do expect Epic to eventually push out. But if he does wait till 2-2, there will be a lot of creep spread if this double drop doesn't do a whole lot. And he will be facing that timer of ultras because they are really fast here. Thank you, Captain Hoppa, for the 6 months. I love JonSnow. Who doesn't love JonSnow? Second factory's on the way. Notice that Epic did swap his factory off onto a reactor, so this will be for drilling claws as he transfers into Widow Mines. If you were to get a really fast 4th CC, this is okay times. So probably 9 minutes. It's still, you know, pretty fast. I would say maybe he's going to go for more of a, I was about to say mature style. That's not what I meant. Macro style. I don't know why it took me so long to figure out that word. It's like I cast StarCraft or something. Macro style, where it's not really about hitting maybe the 2-2 attack. It's not really hitting, you know, double pumped tanks and taking control of this cliff here. It's going to be later on when you're both maxed out, when both your 2-2s are done. And yeah, you might have to deal with ultras, but hopefully you will start adding in Marauders and you will start adding in Liberators. But I said this is going to be for Drilling Claws. It is also still producing tanks. So we have a combo, a wombo combo of both the factory units you would typically see in this matchup. I wonder how it's going to work out. 4CC should be safe to put on location. As he pushes out, he will max as he moves towards his opponents. Unfortunately, the double drop has not done a ton in terms of economic damages or even, sorry, it's a double drop, it's a quadruple drop, or even clearing up that much creep spread. JonSnow's been doing a great job keeping tabs on that while getting up to his hive. Vipers, Ultras, upgrades, all on the way here. And not even going to lose that creep tumor queen, as it's actually the Marines that lose their lives. Nicely done. So not just an Ultra Cavern, Spire is also on the way. Now Epic finally going for this push out as he takes his 4th. It's great. Gonna add Tech Lab to these barracks, start moving over to Marauders. Has a ton of creep spread to deal with. And that is going to slow down his push considerably so and make it even more dangerous as you see him here on creep, missing some of the creep tumors behind him. This is a very, very risky thing to do. Planetary is not quite down, but there is a defensive tank, and reinforcements eventually will take care of the Lings. They're not that big of a threat, but they are being quite bothersome. Also, perhaps distracting Epic from the main fight. His tanks are already positioned, so they're going to be adding a lot of damage regardless, but if you don't, spread your Marines, then you can be taking some really nasty Baneling hits. It seems like Epic has cleared up most of the creep tumors here, so that will start to recede. And you still have creep available on some of these sides. Still a little worrisome. 5th base now being taken for JonSnow. He's been very comfortable on 4 for quite some time. JonSnow still waiting for his upgrades for his ultimate tech, so he is down 30 supply. And also because he has so many workers. Squeens are finally going to go down here, but here comes the trigger pulled from JonSnow. Blinding Clouds go down on the tanks, as well as a bit on the army, too. Remember, Lings and Banelings don't care about Blinding Cloud. So as they run through it, they're just looking for connections. But not many Lings and Banelings are left over, and the Hydras are very, very weak without them. There's so much bio left over. So even though JonSnow got rid of the splash, got rid of the tanks and the Wood of Mines, the bio is still king here. And unless they take some really nasty hits by the remaining Banelings, it looks like Epic is going to be able to push through here as JonSnow is desperately trying to add in some Ultras. They are kind of lengthy units to build here. They actually take some time. If you actually play Zerg, they feel like they take forever, right? And they're not helping right now. You also don't have a lot of time to build Banelings, which are going to make you feel a little more confident against this. So at the very least, Epic is going to get that 4th base. JonSnow is not out of the game because of that yet, but he's lost a 4th base, and he's lost a lot of creep spread. He really needs to take a good fight here, and maybe this can be it. Banelings are finally back into play here, but off of creep into a concave. They are making some connections. Medevac's also going to be running low just in pure numbers here and in energy, so a lot of these units are already injured. Running back to the tank, running back to the reinforcements. Also a Wood of Mine in play here, but these Ultras are upgraded. They have that chitinous plating, as well as +3 attack. Working on that +3 armor, and JonSnow is barely going to hold. Epic perhaps going a little too far there. Actually, he's going to be fine on the defense, but does drop dramatically in that supply count. Now down by 30. I guess that's not that dramatic. It just would be scary if JonSnow suddenly had like 50 Lings pop out of the larva, right, of the eggs. Then maybe Epic's in a bit of a bad scenario, but he's all right. He's all right. And there we go, back up, and that's that count as he starts pumping from his production facilities again, and now has a 5th base finished. So not too bad. Actually, time to reevaluate what's going on here. JonSnow barely holds. As I said, he lost his 4th, but his 5th is still utilizing his 77 drones pretty well. His mana natural, I think, are still kicking as far as minerals available. Yeah, a little bit. Drops almost taken out. Okay. That little speedy thing behind the Ultras means they have speed, by the way. It's kind of stupid, but whatever. Infestors get a Spire. Okay, so really the worst thing here for JonSnow is that he lost a ton of creep spread that's still leading to like 2 of his bases. And Epic now has an even better anti-Ultralisk army. But Greater Spire is like 80% done. Infestors are on the way with Pathogen Glands done. And I do love to see some Burrow here for the Infestors, as well as maybe later on for Burrowed Banelings. That would be pretty sick. Epic's back to being maxed out. The little dip in supply didn't last very long, but here comes a surround. Wood of Mines are actually gonna get some decent shots, but not the most amazing. Mid splashback on the army a little bit. Stuck into a corner here. Epic's gonna be forced to retreat. So many weak, well, not so many actually, very few and very weak medevacs with very little energy. Does not instill a lot of confidence as Epic is gonna lose what looks to be a lot of the army. All right, no second fungal is available, so whew, those 2 medevacs will live. All right. Epic perhaps having to reevaluate here. He's running very low on medevacs. He never added those extra starports, something that you really need to do as you want to build into maybe Liberator range. You want to be able to produce both Liberators and medevacs, especially once you realize, hey, I don't have a lot of medevacs. So I'm actually most worried about that, but just in general, taking on what is still a hefty late-game Zerg army that is very well upgraded with some spellcasters. You're going to have to start reevaluating your position. Do I really want to continue pushing in here with pretty much pure bio? The Wood of Mines are helpful, but you usually start phasing them out. Or do I want to transition into more of a defensive style, depending on some Liberators, missile turrets, and eventually into Ghosts? Well, we see what choice he makes. He's going to continue pushing in here, and he's going to abuse this choke. Widowmane's actually an amazing shot, so very well done there. With Drilling Claws, of course, you need an Overseer to see them, to snipe them. So I'm going to get another shot, or 2 or 3. Planetary under fire, but not by very much. Kind of a bad split there from JonSnow. I guess if it wasn't repaired and didn't have any reinforcements, it would have gone down, but just loses a chunk of the army there. Well, literally loses an Ultra and then, right, has to run back with it to defend this base, which this base is dead. Once again, a transfer workers back to the 4th. He has another 5th available, though, so it's still in a situation where he could still take the army fight and be happy with the trade. And that seems to be happening here. Fungals come down to the Marauders. Corruptors come in to deal with the Liberators. He will take a couple shots from the Widow Mines, but they are chunky units. They'll take shots from a lot of different things. But here comes the reinforcement line. I mean, reinforcement, run by, whatever you want to call it. Epic just started to rally his units to the north side and takes advantage of JonSnow being out of position. Snipes that other 5th base, and JonSnow is back down to 4 as Epic is on 5. JonSnow also starting to run low on the minerals in the main and natural, and heck, even the 3rd. So he is really down to 1 base mining. Yeah, confident 1 base mining. So let's see, plus 3 bases that are low. So like, let's call it 2 3/4. I don't know. 77 workers is not really doing what it looks like it would do. But JonSnow is still keeping his head above water. Despite losing hatcheries, he's kept the army alive for the most part, now transferring over into Broodlords. Infestors are going to be there to help out if there isn't enough army otherwise. Make sure the bio won't collapse in on them. Creep Spread is attempting to be remade too. It's a slow process, but it is still getting out there. He's still got at least 1 queen doing work here. And if he keeps his army alive, then you will get to 600 minerals again relatively soon, and you can replace those bases, because you don't have to replace army, you don't have to replace drones. So sometimes those hatchery snipes aren't actually the most important thing. Epic's still very low on the medevac count is even more worrying as you see Fungals play a huge part into this game. Wouldn't mind splashback. I'm so worried now, especially with the Broodlings. They are going to look, as I said, they're going to look worse and worse as the game goes on, but they were helpful for longer than I gave them credit for. Vikings are now being made since he finally added on those additional starports. Liberator range just finished up here. Epic's been on full upgrades for a while. Actually went to +3 attack for the ground, and I guess I could be like heavily critical and say that wasn't really necessary. He's got some hefty tank fire if he gets the tanks again. Oh my god, that fungal! Oh god. So many units dead. 2 medevacs. Escape in the medevacs. Way to go. But Epic needs to take a chill pill. He needs to go back into defensive mode. And I'm glad to see that we have Ghosts on the way and the Vikings coming out here to deal with the Broodlords, but I'm talking like get maxed out again, get some sag defense, do some drops, not some actual push-outs, because that's gonna... I mean, you saw what it led to, just getting fungled a couple times and losing, boom, 30 army supply. Epic might have some Ghosts available, but he's not really the best setup I've ever seen. I mean, you can just look at the supply and say that it's not going to look so hot here. 1 Broodlord's going to get instantly taken out. No, actually, the focus fire is not on top of it, so not even. Oh, the Banelings crash into an army that was stuck behind a planetary with building armor to his credit, but still goes down very quickly. 1 Ghost, no, 2 Ghosts are alive, looking for, I guess, an EMP, but if the EMP, maybe they're not going to get the snipes, and even if they did get the snipes, it's just not going to be a lot of them. I think JonSnow has weathered the storm, the mid-game of Epic, and is going to win in this late game. Despite Epic's attempts to kill his economy, to stop the max army of the Zerg, to stop the tech swaps of the Zerg, it didn't quite work out, and he is going to fall here. First planetary done, 2nd planetary done, and his army is also done. First game to JonSnow. Epic had some pretty good mid-game, but I fear that the hard stop transition that we see from a lot of other Terrans wasn't really... It wasn't there, and I'm also kind of like, you know, always Epic, the type of player who doesn't really like to do that, which you can't really blame him. If you have momentum, you want to continue with the momentum, right? And maybe in another game, JonSnow does falter, loses too much creep spread, doesn't have enough Banelings, and does die. But at a certain point, a lot of Terrans, I think they just gotta be like, you know what? I'm not killing this Zerg player in the mid-game with the mid-game composition. I gotta shift gears into late game, which a lot of late game Terran is going defensive first, kind of collecting all of your or you're getting your ducks in a row, whatever the saying you want to use, and then trying to go for aggression again. But first you got to get maxed again. First you got to get to that good composition, and you got to get to the sag defense. GG, GG, GG. Rays beat out Rob 2-1 to be the first qualified player. It is a Terran player. Oh no, he was the one that swapped the Protoss. That's right. Or was he always Protoss and I'm thinking of someone else? Whatever. It's Protoss, so that was a PvP. Is he able to win? And now we're watching this series to see who else is qualified through the upper bracket. Whoever loses in the qualifying match, the upper bracket is still pretty damn close to getting through in the lower bracket. But it does mean they have to wait a very long time. So now would be the time to go and grab dinner, or I don't know if it's 10:30 like it is here. If they're East Coast, then I guess they just slam a Red Bull. JonSnow is like ready and then leaves the lobby. GSL poster is dope as food. Thank you. It's like a cloth poster. A banner. There we go. It's a banner, actually. And the rest of it is Zest's face from GSO vs. the World. They weren't going to do anything with the banners from the event. And we were all there in Korea, and we were like, "You're gonna do anything with them?" And he said, "Nope. There's literally nothing else we can do with these." And we were like, "Can we have them?" So I got Zest, and I think Fear Dragon got Neeb, if I'm not mistaken. One of the Blizzard employees, I think, got the Scarlet banner, and then some other ones went to other people. But yeah, they don't really do anything else with a lot of these merchandise, the decorations, you know, whatever. Like the decorations, if it's a one-time event, literally just go in the trash, or maybe some Blizzard employee gets to take care of it. But Even merchandise that doesn't get sold gets kind of put in a storage, and then I guess apparently Blizzard has like huge like employee only like discount sales in the parking lot with all the leftover stuff, and I'm like, hold on, let me in on that. I'm like kind of occasionally a Blizzard employee, like, come on. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. All right, so I did bring this up last game that I didn't really think JonSnow was the type of player to do this. And Epic also didn't maybe think so at the time, you know, that first game. He did get a little surprised by the 6 lings, but this is going to be awkward. Epic, knowing that there could be an early pool, again, goes for the SCV scout. Ultra safe, doesn't take much away from your economy. Arguably, more people should do this more often. But the SCV is not going to get the full scout, and this is where things go back in favor of JonSnow. Usually an SCV scout is the deadliest thing to this build, because they do get into the main base and see the Roach Warren, but the Lings actually did enough damage to the SCV that if it went on a creep, the Lings would have been able to tear it down. So, really nice stuff. So right now, Epic's like, great, I'll defend against the Lings, no problem. But is he thinking about the follow-up Roach Warren? I don't think so. I don't think so. And you don't really want to automatically play into the potential for that because it does mess up your build quite a bit if they're not doing roaches. So if he knew, he doesn't swap the factory off. He's even slightly suspicious. He doesn't do that. But he's not, and what I'm reading here is like actually not suspicion. Maybe also send like an SCV forward again. It's kind of worth it to see the roaches on the way. The Reaper going forward or something like that. And it's just, oh no, it's not looking too great. Epic, you know, one thing that happens, you do get the command center done and finished, and that's great. It's all well and good, but the mule is going to be very useless. You're going to lose 2 units that really aren't super important, but would usually be going into a bunker right now. And you don't have very ideal units when you have Hellions against this. So now Epic knows the latest possible scout on that. And I think it's going to be good for JonSnow. He's even let into the main base here. SV surrounds aren't bad, but there's not a lot of damage on top of this. That extra Marine, that Reaper living a little bit longer could have been huge. But they both go down very quickly. The SCVs get taken down by a Corrosive Bile, which did help take down a Roach, I suppose, but... And almost took on the Raptor. Actually, that really helps. That thanks, JonSnow. But it's also still taking down so many SCVs. Epic down to 13 SCVs. Trying to produce a Marauder here that will finish and will hold the line. But, oof. That was rough. That was really rough. Epic should not step out of this game. This is not game ending. Had Epic lost lost maybe 7 more workers, I would say, yeah, just go ahead and tap out. And even then, it's a qualifying match, so, like, I guess don't tap out, right? But at 14, with double orbital, double mule, it's not the worst. Now, JonSnow goes quickly back into his own droning here, so he's really jumped up recently, but remember, he was on a low drone count as well for a very long time. And there's still potential that some damage comes in later. So this Liberator gets a couple drone kills, or the Hellions cause more Lings to be made. Like, something can happen, right? Napek's actually going to go for more than just forcing out Lings. He's going to go for direct drone kills. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, 3 goes down. He's looking for the juicy shot, so that 3rd one's actually not going down. But there it is. There's a 3rd one. There's a 4th one. Not too bad there. The Hellions weren't going to do very much else. You know they're on roaches. You know if they are going speed, it's rather late. And he saw the pool wiggly jiggly. So sacrifice those Hellions. Bring that worker count down even just a little bit. And Epic continues along with his regular build. 3rd CC's on the way. Well, kind of regular build. He does go for a faster factory here. Probably well aware of the chance of a follow-up all-in since he didn't see anything else. Didn't see the lair start. Didn't see an evolution chamber. He knows the 3rd base isn't on the way. But... okay, now he sees the 3rd base is intended to be taken. He does not know about the lair timing. Which is a little awkward at this point, right? Because the early game was like it was. It's hard to read into what's a fast lair and a slow lair. Liberator is almost gonna die! So close, so close. There you go. Thank you, ARP, for the gifted sub to Nindinian. What a boss, what a boss. A round of applause to ARP. Do what I can. Little ZGB love. All right, so that ends up being just, you know, a normal lair. Roach speed, Overseer available, and no Nidus Worms, no immediate Spire. And the game goes on. And JonSnow, actually, at this point, is when everything's said and done, is even a little bit behind where he should be. Only just now bumping up the work count to 7, then 10 above. You do want to have at least a solid 8 workers ahead of the opponent, because double mules. So this is not too bad for Epic. It could have been worse. Could have been better. JonSnow also, I guess, could have been a little bit better by not letting his drones out of the Hellions. By cleaning up the Wood of Mine faster. X, Y, Z, B, D, F, G. So on and so forth. JonSnow is getting faster 1-1, and he is sticking on roaches, so... I said no Spire. I should also really be pointing out that there's not really a transfer into Ling Baneling. It is just Roach. So if JonSnow wants to go for like a 1-1 Roach attack, I would say more power to him, but I do question how powerful it would be. The droning that happens before you start making the army, right? That's how Zerg works, or wants to work. Didn't really happen as well as I think it should have. And we do have just continued drone production here. So I don't think it's going to be that 1-1 timing. And the missile's a little bit off, too. Scan to see at the army, I guess? It's kind of like a random-looking scan, but it also sees the saturation of the third a little bit. So, like, okay. Did see the army before JonSnow tried to move out of the way. Saw a drone move towards the 4th base, and a Wood of Mine, again, grabs that drone. Pretty cheeky. I love reading delayed chat sometimes. Sometimes I know the opposite. I say something and I'm absolutely wrong and the chat calls me out 3 minutes in advance. Other times I say something and the chat's like opposite saying and then I end up being right and I feel so validated. Oh yes, I bathed in the validation. So JonSnow is going for the 1-1 attack. It just feels like it's a bit later because the +1 missile was a little awkward and because the drone count wasn't very smooth, right? So I don't know if this is going to work, but does turn into a 40 army supply lead. 3 tanks are in position. Bunkers are being prepared. 1 actually finishes. Stim is done, but Combatill does not, and actually takes a corrosive bottle to the face. So that's good for the Marauder very quickly. The tanks! No, the tanks! Oh my god, they're firing a rock! They're firing on that rock! How did it even happen? Oh, and he still holds, so it's okay. Never mind, I'm freaking out for nothing. We're good. We're Gucci. Oh my god, it wasn't quite an MMAing, but it was like very close to being an MMA moment right there. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, alright. So holds on to his third. Holds on to a damn decent army count. Very important to keep those tanks alive, especially. Don't do a drop right now. That seems like not a great idea. I don't know about that. Oh, I like that. I do like that a lot. It's 1 factory being produced right now. JonSnow gonna go for the wraparound. He's gonna see the double drops to the main base, which might just make him even more eager to pull the trigger for another attack. He's gonna go for a full surround to the tanks. This time not focusing on rocks. Are gonna be digging into that roach count, but there's not enough bio to protect this. The tanks are getting pounced upon. The bunker can only help out so much. Epic with 16 units and medevacs elsewhere is not able to hold on here. He didn't scout JonSnow's surround. And Epic is going to be broken. What does he get for this? He gets a 4th base that JonSnow wasn't even really using. Can he hold on to the natural? I didn't even realize what a bunker in the supply depot there. That's actually working out really well for him, but this drop is not going to last forever. It's not going to last very long at all. Takes 1 roach with it and gets out of dodge with the loss of about 4 Marines. Now, drops are still Epic's ticket back into this game. Drops can't be underestimated, but I think that was a very poor time to drop. Yeah, I don't know if he holds, you know, the 3rd base with those units, but I think it is a lot closer. I think you only feel really confident pushing out any units once you guarantee the army's back at home, or you have 2-2, which is clearly a long ways off. Corrosive Vial gets a decent shot, but it's more just about the numbers at this point. Epic just fell down too much. He lost his tank count, which is the slowest to produce when he got broken there. And JonSnow's all-in is going to work out really damn well. Epic, he had a tough choice to make. But even if he didn't take his 3rd base back and battery